Good morning and welcome to Family Computer Center. In this video, we are going to discuss about how to make a search utility user form. So in the search utility workbook, we have a button here called search invoice. So when I click this button, it should bring me up a form like this. I have already made the form design, and when I type an invoice number and when I click the search button, it should bring the date, sales representative name, price, unit, sales and product of that particular invoice number from our database sheet. So this is our target. Correct? Okay. So to do this target, we have to go through like 4 different steps. Okay. So we will write the code for that now. So I'm switching to Visual Basic Editor, and now I will double click on the search button where I'm going to write the code for this. Okay. So inside this search button, actually we want to do 4 main operations. Number 1, we have to, I will write it as a comment. Number 1, we have to declare the variables needed for this particular project. Correct? Number 2, then we have to identify the table or identify the database. Database means what? How many rows and columns are there in this database. And number 3, we have to get the data from the database using VLookup. So we will learn how to use VLookup inside VBA also. Correct? And finally, number 4, we have to display the data that we have extracted using lookup inside the form, in the search form. So these are the 4 things should happen in this program. Okay, so let's do that 4 things. So I'm placing it like side by side for declaring the variable. So the first step is to declare the variables. So inside this one I will write dim. I want INV number as a long. Correct? Then dim INV date as date. Then dim srep as string because that's the sales rep. Dim product as string. Correct? Dim price as double. All right. Then dim units as, let's see the type of this one, so that we can use as integer. Then dim sales as double. Finally dim ws as worksheet. Then dim tbl as range. So that's for finding the range. Okay. So now let's set the ws first. Ws is equal to this workbook dot sheets of, what's the name of the sheet? The name of the sheet is db. So db. Correct? Okay. So we have declared enough variables for doing this stuff. Now we need to identify the database, second step. Okay, so I can manually say that set tbl is equal to ws dot range of, starting from a1 till g19. Okay, so ws dot range of a1 to g19. So we have identified our database. So this is a set statement. Okay, so we use the set statement for identifying the database. Correct? Okay, so now we need to get the data from the database using the VLookup. Before that, we need to get the inputs from the user. Input means what? For example, when I click the search invoice, here invoice number is the input. So we need to take the invoice number from this box. Okay, so I'm going to do that inside the code. So I'm saying like env number is equal to value of txt env number dot text. So take the value of the env number dot text. So that will be stored in the invoice number variable. So now we have to use the VLookups for pulling all the datas like invoice date, invoice sales rep name, product price, all based on what the invoice number we have took from the text box, invoice number text box. So I'm saying like inv date is equal to, and you know already like how to take the function from Excel to VB. So we will be saying application dot worksheet function dot VLookup, and in VLookup, inside the VLookup function, first we have to say our input value. Input value is inv number, comma. Second we have to say the table array. Table array means this range. This range we already took, so TBL. So that's the range, comma. Then we have to say the column number. So column number is 2 because we want to take the date from the second column. So 2, comma, false. False is for the exact match, correct? So we need to repeat this for all the all the data we want to take. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this and repeat. So I copied this VLookup function like 6 times down because I want to take sales rep name, product and price unit and sales. Here only the change is the variable which is receiving the data and the column number. All other things remains the same for all the VLookup. Now what we have to do is like we have to put the data back to the form. So I'm saying like txt date is equal to inv date. That means what? We want to put inv date, the value from the invoice date to the txt date. So now I will say txt rep means sales rep is equal to srep. So that means the value here will be passed into that text box. Now txt product equals prod. Okay, so now txt price equals price, correct? Txt unit is equal to units, right? Txt sales is equal to sales. So done, we put it back to the form. So this is what we have done, correct? Okay, so let's go back, assign the macro and execute this one. Macro is already assigned, so I'm clicking on search invoice and I'm giving a invoice number 10508. Then I click search button. There you go, all the information is popped up here, correct? Now we have to clear all these things. When we click the new search, all these things should be cleared. So we will write the code for the new search also. I'm going back to Visual Studio, so I'll just copy this down and I will set the value of all this to nothing. Just double quotes. Double quotes is for clearing the text, correct? And one more text box, txt invoice number also clear, correct? And finally we have one more thing called a button. That's the exit button. For the exit button we will be writing end. That's a code for exit button, correct? So now we go back here, then 10507 search, there you go, new search, everything is cleared. Exit is for the exiting. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure that you subscribe to our channel so that you will not miss any further video we post.